Good morning, Brontë. I can be evil too if I want to. Uh, I'll we'll talk a little bit about the birds while I work on this inevitably. I'm gonna have to find it if I want to reference it, but there is a description that was cut from Volume 1 during, I believe it was the second round of beta reading that I did for Volume 1, and I cut that piece of description because people were complaining that they were getting bored and that there was too much description, so I went through and I cut out a lot of material. And I'm kind of mad that I cut out that one little piece. It was like barely a paragraph. It was a couple additional sentences in a single paragraph. That paragraph still technically exists. It is still in Volume 1. But I cut out a little bit of description, and that's a pity because I mean, it's not a big deal. It's going to be in Volume 2, but I'm like, but it could have been in Volume 1. So I could have had a little teaser in there, and it would have been fun. But oh well. Alright, I'm going to post this. I really need to set up a bot for the Discord. And one day, I might actually do it. But not today. Today it's going to be the old-fashioned way. The drawing itself is gorgeous. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Let's see. That's why I'm not a strict beta reader at all. Everything is important because I said so. It'd probably be really interesting for, well, interesting in air quotes. You can't see me, I'm making air quotes. It'd probably be interesting for folks to read some of the like original draft of Volume 1 compared to how it ended up, because it went through, as you could expect, it went through a considerable amount of changes. Yes, I'll have to see if I can find... I'm sure I have that version of the manuscript because I saved everything. And I'm planning to use the description of the doves in Volume 2. I'll have to see if I can find it. And I don't have... Let's see, I have one of the old paperbacks. But I wonder if I can find... Let's see here. Brontë got bird friends. She does indeed have little bird friends. In Volume 2, Brontë spends a little bit more time with... he's a brother that she's met before, or if not met him, she at least knows who he is and has seen him in passing and maybe like greeted him in passing and so on. She doesn't know him well, but she spends a little bit more time with a brother named Debare, who works primarily with animals in Windermere. And through that, she ends up spending more time with animals herself. Let's see if I can find... There we go. It's the first paragraph of chapter 59 in volume 1. That is the paragraph in question that I'm talking about that mentions the doves that I kind of sort of regret not keeping the way it was. There was just a little bit more description about the doves. I'll see if I can find the original version of that paragraph, but first I will get to work on actually drawing a little bit. I have not made my coffee yet this morning, so you might get some Dia makes coffee ASMR before it gets too hot to drink coffee. Well, you know where I am in case you want to send something my way. Yes, I know where to find you. Let's see. That's adorable. I'm looking forward to Snow White Brontë in Volume 2. Yeah, there's a scene in Volume 1 that was cut, and I should maybe, I'm not entirely sure, I should maybe be able to repurpose it for Volume 2. I considered putting it on Patreon as just like a little snippet for folks to read, but because I might use it in Volume 2, I haven't done that yet. And in that scene, Brontë interacts with one of the many barn cats on the cathedral grounds, and that cat's name is Captain Von Stout, and I love him very much. I am going to hide these so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, this is like her shoulders. Is it just that? Yes. Okay, we can get rid of that. That's her habits. Get rid of that. Good morning, Babel. How are you? Is it cooler for you today? I know you've been suffering through some very intense heat, especially for the Netherlands and not having AC. I clearly didn't know which line I wanted to keep for her neck, so I'm gonna adjust this. Did you see me holding the butterfly and a caterpillar in the pics I sent? I did. It was so cute. Really and truly giving Disney princess vibes. I don't really have in my immediate area, at least that I've seen. So I have a little backyard, and if I had more money, which I don't because I'm broke, if I had more money, I would be putting together a garden for that little backyard, something that would attract and be a good little habitat for various, butterflies and little critters and stuff like that. But because it is just a square of concrete and dirt. It doesn't attract any wildlife, so I don't get to enjoy wildlife like that, so it's very charming to see photos of them. Maybe one day, I say, not having any money, but whatever. It's way cooler, but next week it's going up again. Oh god. You guys have, I think you mentioned you have a little, like a unit that you can put ice in, and that helps cool things down. I'm just not really sure what angle I want her neck to be at. I think that looks fine. I don't know. I can always change it later. I want her to look like she's kind of, she has her head upright. She's not like leaning forward, so I don't want her neck to be at that much of an angle. Yes, an air cooler machine. Okay, so you have something at least. Barn cats and Captain Von Stout. Yes. There's Captain Von Stout. I haven't named a bunch of the other barn cats. Captain Von Stout is just one of the ones that is named. And I don't know if the doves will have names, because the little, I'm not quoting it verbatim because I don't have it memorized to say it verbatim, but the excuse me, the doves were the founder of the order's favorite, so that's why they're at the church. So I don't know if they would have names. They're just kind of, everybody knows that there's always doves there because the founder loved them, and so now they live there. Let's see here. Yeah, in Volume 1 and Chapter 59, there's that little opening paragraph where doves are described as being in the courtyard, and basically it says there are doves, and then Cyril comes like stomping through, and they're all like, okay, let's leave, this guy's really annoying. That paragraph originally had a little bit more about how, and not very much, but it had a little bit about how the doves are there because they were the founder's favorite, and there was like a cute little paragraph about that. But people were complaining, they said they were getting bored, and then they said that information was irrelevant, so I said okay. So I removed it. It's raining and there's a rainbow in the sky. Yes, it really saved me. I mean, I would imagine Brontë naming every little creature. I'm sure she probably would try to. She would, especially when it's animals like the doves, how all those animals tend to look the same, so it's very hard to identify individuals. Brontë would probably be trying really hard to find little physical characteristics so she could identify each individual and at least give them some sort of a nickname, just so she could kind of tell who is who. It'd be tricky, but she would probably do that. I'm just gonna be lazy and merge all of these together. Oh, that's her arm. I don't want to merge that one because I might move her arm, and this should be her other arm, and I was right. It is. Okay. That should be just her hand. Okay, it is. That anymore. What if she ties colorful ribbons to each of them? She's probably discouraged from doing that. But she would probably want to do something like that. I'm doubtful that the church rings their birds, like puts little like little ankle. Well, I don't know. Do birds have ankles? Like she puts little. I don't think the church bans, I think is the proper name. I don't think they ban their birds to track them and make sure that they're like healthy and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they make sure that they're healthy. They just don't use bans to do that. But they're probably like, no. They probably discourage her from doing that. Debare doesn't deal with the doves as much. It's more that Debare helps with animals that are suffering from vampiric interference. Is that the right word? Influence? I wasn't sure if I was gonna do influence or interference. Debare deals with animals that are sick because of vampiric shenanigans, shall we say. But he is like a fully trained veterinarian, is the term that we would use. That's like his skill, that's what he does. He's also a hunter, but that is still technically, he's a veterinarian. So he helps treat animals, but he doesn't focus on animals that are in the grounds. He's more concerned with animals that are outside of the grounds, like dogs and, you know, street dogs and those sort of things that are, you know, potentially getting hurt from vampires. Greetings from Germany. I really like your drawings. Thank you so much. Welcome in. Good morning, Sarah. How are you? Nori, hi. Guess who's back? Welcome back. How are you, Nori? Good to see you. Let's see, where is... There we go. Bronte's nose is so cute. She's so cute. Can't stand it. Good, I nearly missed the stream because I didn't have my notifications on. Well, I'm glad you made it. Even if you have notifications on, I think YouTube isn't fantastic about sending them all the time. But either way, I'm glad you made it. Thank you for being here. She looks kind of sad. Why? Have you finished Volume 1? she's gonna be a little bit melancholy, I would say, for a time. This is canonically a Volume 2 drawing, Brontë. How would a vampire bite a dove, or would they get infected drinking from a contaminated pond? A vampiric animal might bite them. So yeah, an animal, a vampiric animal, can come about if bitten or attacked or wounded or whatever by a vampire. Various different scenarios exist there because there are various different types of vampires. However, well, okay. How about this? I'll give you the option to yay or nay a minor spoiler for Volume 2. It's not a big story element. It's just a cute little thing. But if you want to know that little bit of spoilery information, I can tell you, or if you would prefer not to, I won't tell you. So vote now on your phones. Text 1-800 what the hell is Dia talking about? Let's see. So her hair, I think. I also didn't fill in her ear. You can kind of see that I put her ear going behind her. I mean, it does go behind her veil, but I need to erase that. There it is. Okay. Okay, we got some yays. It's a yay from me. Okay, I'm bad at drawing ears, is the thing. Brontë has a very cute little elf-ish sort of ear. Not that you ever get to see it, because it's always underneath her veil, but I find it hard to draw her ear when it's partially hidden by her veil, so I need to kind of like sketch in the whole thing, even though I just erased it, but whatever. She's got like a little pointy ear. Like so. Let's see, we have, I think this shape is throwing me off. I think that's wrong, but that doesn't feel right either. I don't know, I have to think about this. So, to technically answer your question, Vante, how would a vampire bite a dove, or would they get infected drinking from something, etc.? So other animals, yes, absolutely. Drinking something, getting attacked, getting injured, because having an open wound and that open wound potentially coming into contact with vampire blood in any context, that can cause vampiric symptoms. However, the reason that doves were the founder's favorite is because doves are immune to vampiric influence. No one really knows why. They just are. Which isn't to say that if a vampire like chomps one, the bird's gonna be fine. It's still gonna be injured. It still might die because that's still an injury, but it isn't going to take on any kind of vampiric characteristics. So that's why the birds were her favorite, and why they're kind of seen as a good omen isn't really the right word, but they're seen as precious for that reason. No one knows why doves are immune to vampires, but they are, and it's a cute little detail. Alright, let's see. I'm forgetting how to draw ears. I'm used to drawing Cyril's ear, which has like a kind of distinct shape. If you've seen, well, I say this, all of the human ears I draw end up with the shape. Cyril's ear kind of has like a almost squarey shape, kind of like that. And then I do like a little... And ta-da, boom. That's Cyril's ear. That's super easy for me to draw. For some reason, Bronte's ear is hard for me. Let's see here. I think it's because she doesn't really, or at least I don't picture her having the same kind of structure on whatever this part of the ear is. I don't know what that's called, but that's, I don't know. I don't want to look up the anatomy of it. I'm sure Trickster could probably tell me what the what the anatomy of that is called off the top of their head. All right, let's see. So I don't see any of this, but it'll still help me get my bearings. Yeah, okay, so that isn't the wrong spot. I bet someone has a ton of fun biting that adorable ear. Cyril declines to comment. You bet he does. Alright, let's see. So, no, that's not right either. Okay, there we go. That feels better. That. Okay. Well, that will do. Because the rest is covered up anyway. Somehow I ended up putting these on different layers. Why am I like this? Alright, there we go. Let's see, now her hair, which is quite messy. I need to fix that. Is it part of her face layer? Okay, good. It's right here. It's her face. Oh, dang it, I made it part of her veil. Okay, that's annoying. Doves might be considered the purest animals in the world. They're just little guys. But yes, no one knows why they were the founders' favorites, so they get special little brownie points just based off of that alone. And then the fact that they are immune to vampiric influence also obviously makes them special to the church. Technically, we should be seeing more of her veil. Okay. My social battery is pretty empty. My niece has a birthday today. Oh, well, happy birthday to her. My birthday is 8 days, I think. 8, 9? What day is it today? 9 days. I'm gonna have my pardon me. My mother does not understand how technology works and accidentally included me in the group text about my birthday. So I already know what I'm getting as a gift for my birthday, which I'm very excited about because they got me an espresso maker. So I'm very excited about that. That'll be wonderful. And I'm going to pretend to be surprised because I don't know if my mom realized that she added me to that group chat. Observe all the seed brownies. I'm sure Brontë will want to put together, little treats and different things for them. What can I say? I think she's going to want a hobby or two in Volume 2, shall we say? There it is. Okay. We should actually be able to see more of this, because her head isn't perfectly in profile, because you can see the start of her other brow. This actually should be more like that. You should start to see where it wraps. Right, that's hilarious. But yay, you wanted that espresso machine. I really did. I was I was holding off. I was going to just buy one for myself, but I figured I have a birthday coming up. I don't want to buy one for myself and then risk that my family buys me one. So I have been sitting and waiting patiently, and my patience has been rewarded. So the espresso machine is set. So now I'm gonna wait for my birthday to pass just in case. So my mom texted the group saying, she's like, "Hey, I got him an espresso machine. Have you gotten him anything?" And I didn't see any responses after that, so I think they removed me after that, realizing that I was in the chat, or nobody else responded. I don't know. But I don't want to buy a grinder for the espresso machine just in case they also got a grinder, because that would make sense. But we'll see. What was I doing? I was doing her hair. Okay, let's see here. I literally cannot draw birds for the life of me. Birds are so hard. This little guy took so much brain power. The backgrounds, which, let me toggle those layers on, I can show you. Here we go. So these are easy because they're just silhouettes, they're just shapes. The long and short of it is use references, and it makes it easier. But the doves in Immolation and in this fantasy world in general aren't necessarily one-to-one doves that we have in our world. They do look a little bit different. However, when drawing them, especially if you watch the Hellfire animatic, you will see that there are frames that have doves in them. And because yes, the doves have been a thing since the Hellfire animatic. That's all the symbolism that's in the Hellfire animatic has been part of the lore since before the Hellfire animatic was even made or even started. But when working on a visual piece like this in a visual medium, I have to make them recognizable. And so just having them be quote unquote white birds isn't going to quite be enough. I need to have them visually read as doves, which have a pretty distinct silhouette. So technically the doves should look a little bit different, but also they're not going to look a little bit different because I need people to look at them and be like, oh, look, it's doves. But yeah, birds are difficult. Birds, hands, ears, Everything is difficult. Drawing is hard. Okay, let's see. I keep procrastinating her hair, but I've just got to do it. I don't know how much detail I'm going to put on her hair, but... she kind of just takes it. And then... cute little sideburns where her hair grows on the side of her head. I find that detail very, very cute. And then she's always got, or at least I usually always draw her with a little loose hair, which I just find very cute. Believe when I did this, I just erased, and I did. Okay. Also, I'm sewing as I'm listening to you. Ooh, what are you working on? After what happened, for sure, she'll need to busy herself with something. Yes, correct. She's gonna need some downtime. Well, downtime. All right, let's see. I can get rid of that, I believe. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. And you can tell that when I drew the bird, I did not want to draw however its feet are perching on her little finger. So, because if you've ever had a bird perch on your finger, the angle that I have the bird at, it isn't really how that bird would be perching like on her fingers. It would be like kind of turning around and like looking at her. But I wanted it to be positioned this way because it's easier to draw. So I will worry about making its little feetsies correct, and what I will probably do is I will probably bring the bird forward so it's on top of her hand. Let me see if I can just... Yeah. So I'll probably bring the bird forward like that, and you can tell where the bird isn't actually colored in. But then I will just kind of have... Let's see here. I'll just kind of have very fluffy feathers kind of hiding its little feet, and you can maybe see like a little bit of its little feetsies poking out at the bottom, but it's mostly just going to be, you know, when birds are like really comfy and cozy and they like fluff out their feathers and kind of melt. That's the vibe that we're going for. Very, very cozy, fluffed up bird. Not just because that's easier to draw, totally not just because of that. I went to a bunch of work to make her hand look good, and I'm just going to be covering it up with a fluffy bird, but you know what, that's fine. I'll have to make sure the tail, all this, will go behind her hand. Help give the bird some dimension, but we'll worry about that later. My dove has returned. I have a lot of animals. That's great. I'm glad it got home. The only bird I have ever owned was a cockatiel when I was pretty young. I was in middle school, I think. But yeah, I owned a cockatiel, and I'm pretty sure his name... I don't remember his name. I think his name was Fluffy or something really stupid like that because I was a stupid little kid. I had to I had to do a project where you had to take care of a given animal, and it had to be an animal that you were relatively unfamiliar with, so it couldn't be like a cat or a dog or something that you had grown up with. So we chose a cockatiel, I guess. My aunt also, is it my aunt or my grandmother? I don't remember. Had a cockatiel, whose name was Bert, and he was very fun. I want to say Bert was my aunt's as well. So Bert the cockatiel and Captain Von Stout the cat were my aunt's animals. I think they were my aunt's animals, and Bert ended up staying with my grandmother when my aunt moved out because she was moving out into a smaller house, um, and she didn't necessarily feel good about having her cat and her bird in like really really close quarters. So Bert lived for a long time too. Both Bert and Captain Von Stout had very long, healthy lives, which is very good. All right, let's see. I really want to be lazy and just skip ahead to working on her face because her face is fun to work on. So let's see. I jabbed myself with the needle and now I'm bleeding. Oh no. Oh gosh. Have band-aids ready. I've done that. I've done that one. Actually, this reminded me. I need to sew one of my pillows back up. It's getting the fluff coming out of it. I need to sew that back up today. Hello, Dia. I'll only be here a few seconds because I have some things to do. Enjoy your live stream and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Morgan, and thank you so much for stopping by. Would you like to hear a funny story about one of my birthdays? If it's appropriate for stream, yes, by all means. The only time I had a bird as a pet, I brought home either a crow or a baby pigeon for a few days. When I chose, quote unquote, chose Fluffy, I either named him Fluffy or Fluff. I don't know. I was a kid and I was stupid and probably should not have been getting a bird, but whatever. I chose him because he was being bullied by his siblings, I guess, his nestmates, and they had plucked off all of his head feathers, so he was bald. So he was being bullied, and I was like, "No, give me that one, so I can take him somewhere and away, and he won't be bullied by everybody else." And his head feathers all grew back, of course, and he was a very cute little guy. we ended up rehoming him once the project was finished, because we had several cats and he was happier in a different home. And birds also obviously live quite a long time. So, but yes, he was rehomed to someone who only kept birds. So I'm sure he was very happy, and hopefully wasn't getting bullied where he got his head feathers plucked out again. But yes. And he was the color version, quote unquote, I guess, that had the white body and yellow head with red cheeks, extremely cute, as opposed to Bert, who was the kind of like salt and pepper color variation, where he has like the gray and the white, and yellow head with red cheeks. Very cute. Cockatiels are so cute. They are a pet that I would probably have again, like if I was making the choice. It would be a very tough choice, but I would be either between birds, like it could be a little parakeet, it could be a cockatiel, probably nothing bigger than that, not like a big, like parrot or cockatoo or any of those really large birds, or fish. Those would be the pets that I would probably go for. All right, let's see. What is that? I'm betting that that's part of her veil. And I was right. There we go. Oh, poor Fluffy. Rotting Beach, welcome in. How are you today? Oh, we had lots of chickens, but I wouldn't call them pets per se. Yeah, we had chickens. This is why I had to pick like a cockatiel as my animal for that project, because they said it was like some, I don't know, scholastic group thing. I don't know, whatever. I was a kid. I don't remember. I wasn't there, officer. No, the project was you had to prove that you could adapt and take care of a particular animal that you were unfamiliar with, and you had to document the ways that you took care of that animal, and yada yada yada, the research that you did on the animal, so on and so forth. And it had to be an animal that you were not familiar with. So like it couldn't be a dog or a cat, because most of the kids in the group already had dogs and cats at home and already kind of knew, how to take care of one of those. So for me, I was like, well, my family has chickens and goats and horses and dogs and cats and like all this stuff. And we had fish at that point too, so I couldn't do fish. And we had both saltwater and freshwater fish, so I couldn't do either one. So I was desperately trying to figure out, I'm like, what animal is left? What else is out there? And so my family was like, well, how about like a small bird, like a parakeet or a cockatiel? And we decided on cockatiel because my aunt had Bert when I was a kid. It was like, oh, like a cockatiel like Bert, and they're like, yeah, just like Bert. So, and he was a lovely little guy. He enjoyed riding around on my shoulder while I did chores. My partner and I always joke about her going bald because her side pieces of her hairline have very little and very faint hair there. Oh, like little sideburns, like on her temples. I'm a December baby. I usually spend my birthday at home in Italy. 2 days before my birthday, I came home with my best friend. We opened the door. I found a Kindle and a cover on the entry table. I was the only one who read it home, so it was funny to pretend I was surprised. Yeah, definitely had birthdays where you have to pretend to be surprised. That's gonna be me this year. Had a few. Oh, hamsters. My sister and I had hamsters when we were younger as well. I don't. I think it was hamsters. I think it was hamsters and not mice. It might have been mice. I think it was hamsters. Just fine. I'm participating in art fight, so I can challenge myself with drawing. How are you? I hear you've got pets. I wonder if any of my other friends are doing art fight this year. I've never participated in art fight myself, but I've always orbited around it and seen my friends participating in it. I don't currently have any pets because I am renting a little house and there are no pets allowed. I was talking about how when I was younger, I did have a pet. I had several pets, but we were talking specifically about birds. And in this case, I had a little cockatiel, excuse me, and his name was Fluffy. But if I was going to have pets now, I would probably have either a small bird, like a parakeet or a cockatiel, or I would have fish. I think those would be the animals that I go for. Again, unlikely because I rent and I can't have pets, but if I ever live somewhere that does allow me to have pets, that'd probably be my first thought. I enjoy making... I don't really have any because I have to pick and choose my battles when it comes to expensive hobbies. So I don't have a whole lot of spending money to dive into a bunch of different hobbies at a time. But if I had more money, one of the hobbies that I enjoy is making little terrariums. And it would be the same with making like little aquascapes for little fish friends. That'd be very cute. I think I'm going to take all of this. I've had a hamster, a dog, and 10 fish. Yeah, we had a lot of animals, my sister and I, growing up, and I haven't used a lot of the animals from childhood, but I have used a few in immolation. Captain Von Stout, the cat, the barn cat, he was cut from Volume 1, but he's going to be back in Volume 2, probably, if I can squeeze him in there. Captain Von Stout, the cat, definitely in Volume 2. And Cold Water, from which Cold Water is not an animal in Volume 1. Cold Water is a structure. It's the keep. It's the military center in Windermere. Cold Water was the name of our retired racehorse that we adopted and gave him his sunset years, and he was I loved him very much. So there's a couple little animals in there. I don't know that I'd be able to use the names of the other horses we kept because they aren't really usable. Like Moondoggy, don't know if I'd be able to use that one anywhere. Let's see, we had Moondoggy, we had Cruiser, we had Robbie, we had Sammy. All the other animals didn't have fun. Well, I mean, fun isn't quite the right word, but they didn't really have quote unquote usable names. But Cold Water was my boy. Cold Water and I were homies, so he gets honored as having a place of honor in Volume 1. Well, in all of Immolation. All right, let's see. I need to remember my kitty wouldn't tolerate any competition. His black fur also requires me to clean up way more than I'm used to. I want a crow as a pet, but I have a dove, and my friend said it suits me better. They all died. Oh no. I remember going in and I hope that this is not the case anymore, but I feel like it probably is. I haven't been in a pet store in a really long time. But I remember seeing the, like they're literally just little small tiny tubs of water with a betta fish in it. And I remember it wasn't my family that did it, but I remember I went over to like a kid's house, when I was young, and they would have just like a shelf of like a bunch of fish in those little plastic containers, and like half of them were already dead. And I'm like, shouldn't you like get them out? They're like, no, 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 they sell them that way. They're meant to be in those little cases. I'm like, I don't think they are. I really hope betta fish are not still subjected to that, but I have a feeling that they probably are. Let's see. I really should have a reference before I do this, but I'm not going to get one because I'm lazy. That's pretty much most of what I'm going to do on her face. Because she doesn't really have... Yeah, no, she doesn't really have that kind of nose. Actually, I'm just gonna... What's that? Only if a child in Illumination names the animals. Well, I guess there is Addie, who... I don't know if I really decided. It wouldn't surprise me if Blair named Addie. That strikes me as the sort of thing Hezekiah probably would have let her do. Hezekiah probably let her name the dog. More like my parents had fish, but they ate each other. Oh yeah, fish will eat each other. Hamsters will do that too. Hamsters and mice, I think, or it might just be mice. I don't know. Mice will eat each other. Fish will eat each other. It's a it's a wild world out there. Yes, that would have been bittersweet scene. It would. It's true. Okay, let's see. So I want... Eyes are hard, and one of my favorite things about Brontë is her little eyelashes, because I find them very cute indeed. So let's see what I can do here. I think... have to. I don't want to erase her eyelashes, but I might have to in order to get this done. I don't know. We will see. I'm gonna crash out. My brother took my sketchbook, the new one, and threw it in. How old is your brother? Is your brother like a toddler? Because that's the only reason in that would like make sense at all. I will have more kitty art to share. I look forward to seeing the kitty art. Everyone who had hamsters has a horror story. It makes me think of, I think I was in 7th grade. We had a teacher who, it was like a science teacher, and was like, I'm gonna get some mice and we're gonna, you know, it was gonna be a study on like the genetics, so like you would try to predict like what color the babies would come out. And like, yeah, they all died. It's like every time. Everyone who has like hamsters or mice, there's always a horror story. No, he's not a toddler. He's 8. He's 8 and despises me. Respectfully, put this little guy in his place. He's 8 years old. That's and $30 at 8 years old. That is an appropriate amount of money that he should be doing chores to earn that money and then pay you back for the sketchbook. That he's of an age where he can push a lawnmower. He's gonna be doing chores to get that money back. I think I'm gonna have to. I don't want to. I really like how her eyelashes look. I don't want to erase them. Oh, okay. We'll see. See what I can do. I would like to know if it's a compliment to say that I look like a deer. I can't. I don't know that I've ever heard anyone use that description. The only time I know of that description being used is to say that someone looks like a quote deer in the headlights, which means that you look surprised or stunned. But I don't know if that's what you're referring to. Probably am gonna have to erase. I don't want to erase her eyelashes, but I'm probably going to have to. We don't get paid for chores. Time for him to become a little entrepreneur. Get outside and start selling some lemonade on the corner. But seriously, like, get your parents involved, because if he's 8 years old, that means he is still very much at the age his parents need to be disciplining him for stuff, and you don't hurt or damage someone else or their belongings is like a normal childhood thing that he needs to learn. Oh, I have her eyebrow. Oh, actually, no, that's like her whole face. Okay, actually, interesting. Interesting choice. Okay. Interesting choice, he says, when he's the one who made the choice. Does she look like she's about to burst into tears? Yes. Poor thing. I'm sorry, Brontë. I'm sorry for all that I put you through. All right, let's see. Where is it? It could mean you look soft or petite. Yeah, that's true. Could mean big eyes and lovely eyelashes. True. It could mean also that you're expressive, because deers also tend to be very expressive. How about they just say, it's fine. I'm enrolling your parents in like parenting 101. Okay, let's see. These lips are so cute. However, I do need to add, because again, she's not a perfect profile. She is at a slightly different angle. So you'd be able to see the little middle bit of her lip, which is very cute. Big fan. Actually, before I do that, I am going to clean up this line. I remember my sister taking my and my friend's shared notebook and scribbling all over it. My parents did nothing. Some people shouldn't be parents. Yeah, it's kind of sounding that way in the nicest way possible. Yeah, my parents wouldn't have let that kind of stuff fly when I was a kid. Absolutely not. Not to say that my parents were paragons of parenthood. Let's say that 3 times fast. But still. It's probably a compliment, but it's hard to say for sure. My sister says it pretty often. Yeah, ask your sister and tell us. Let the parish know. We want to know what she means by this. Is she going to burst into tears? Maybe. There's like a 76% chance. God, she's so cute. I love her so much. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to her eyelashes and fix these because I did change them. There we go. All right, let's see. All right, I don't. Well, obviously, I usually draw in grayscale. Hi, if you've ever seen my art, you already know this. However, I do also usually do some amount of, at least on Brontë, I don't do it on Cyril, but on Brontë, I will include like some of the peach and the pink colors in her skin, particularly around her lips and like her cheeks and kind of like in the corner of her eyes. So we'll see. I will try doing a little bit of that and see how I feel about it. Is she on a rooftop right now? She could technically be. So she could be on like one of the several rooftop gardens, because obviously the birds would like to hang out there too. Or she could be down somewhere on the ground of the grounds, shall we say. So she could be in multiple locations. I think Brontë tends to prefer, well, actually, I don't know if that's a fair statement. I was going to say she prefers the rooftop gardens, but actually she does like spending a lot of time in the orchards, which obviously are down on the ground because trees need dirt. Um, but I don't know. I think she likes both. I don't know if she necessarily prefers one or the other. She has sentimental attachments to the apple orchard, which is kind of touched on in Volume 1. And depending on if I ever make up my bloody mind, maybe will be touched on in the next animatic. But I'm very undecided. I need to just decide one and stick with it, but we shall see. Problem with adding in the pinks and stuff for her is that it's very easy for it to look muddy, so I have to play around a little bit. We'll see if that stays. We're not 100% sure yet. Oh, and then I guess, well, do I want to bother putting detail on her hand when it's going to be mostly covered by a little guy? I don't know. We'll see. I need to clean up that arm anyway. I think I should just be able to basically cut all of this, because that should all just be sketch. And I was right. Good job. All right. I'm assuming this is part of, yeah, that's part of her body. I'm happily playing Hellfire on my phone right now. Do you remember the Dream Big song I sent in Discord? One of my friends called it dreamy and rocky. The other said it's plain. I need more opinions. I'll have to give it a listen after stream. I can't say that I'm exactly a connoisseur of music, but that's lines, not color. It looks like it's lines. Okay, let's see. This one right. Okay. Brontë has a musical theme. What would it be? Something with a piano, a flute? It would definitely have piano in it. I could imagine something like a piano and a violin kind of duet together. I can imagine something like that suiting her really, really well. And not just because Cyril plays the piano. What was I doing? Okay, right. I was going to look at her hands. That. Excuse me, buddy, but I'm going to have you move for a second. Thank you. Probably a harp, in my opinion. I can definitely imagine a harp suiting her as well. Let's see. I definitely imagine it to be something pretty gentle and quiet. Not necessarily melancholy, but definitely kind of quiet and introspective. But there should definitely be joy to it, whatever it is. Cyril plays the piano. Yes, he does. Cyril plays the piano because his mother loves the piano, and she would like to play the piano and used to and enjoys it. However, because her motion is not the right word, motor control in her hands has deteriorated, she struggles to play the piano now. So Cyril learned how to play the piano so he could play for her, and she likes to have him play for her. And she'll sometimes sit next to him, and he'll do most of the playing, and she'll maybe have like one hand up, and she'll play like a small part with him. But yes. That man has got 1,001 talents, I see. Listen, he does whatever would make his mother happy. I'm thinking maybe do some highlights on her. Is that? I see. Let's make that. Drowning in melancholy to happy tunes. My brother is a music teacher too. That's really cool. My uncle on my mom's side. So my mom plays the piano. My uncle plays the drums. He might play more than that. I want to say he might play bass as well. My aunt plays guitar, bass, and drums. And my grandpa can basically play any instrument you put in front of him. He plays the piano, he plays bass, he plays guitar, he plays trumpet, he plays saxophone. I don't know, give him a theremin and he could probably figure out how to play it. Yeah, my family on that side is very musically inclined, shall we say. I learned piano when I was a kid, but I resented that I had to learn it, so I was really, really resistant to it. I wish that was different now, but obviously when I was a kid being forced to do it, I was like, no, this is awful and I hate it. But yeah. I used to play the piano. We had to get rid of it. My mom still has a grand piano, and my grandpa still has two pianos. He has an upright and he has a grand. My mom has a grand piano. My grandmother has an upright piano. Does my sister have a piano? I think she has a keyboard, not a piano. But yeah, I don't know. I've thought about if I wanted to get a keyboard and practice here. That way I could like plug headphones in and not make a bunch of noise while practicing. But it is one of simply many things that I just don't have hours in the day to do. But maybe one day. I didn't have the best teacher either. I had more fun playing for myself. Yeah, I remember I really didn't want to play piano because my mom just kind of forced my sister and I to learn how to play. And my sister, I don't know if my sister enjoyed it per se, but she was more involved. But it was very much the sort of thing where my mom liked playing piano, so she was going to send both of her kids to learn piano. And basically what it would be is that my mom wanted to take piano lessons, so she would do like back-to-back lessons where my sister and I would go in. Like, I would have my lesson with the teacher, and the teacher was fine. He was very nice. But like, I would have my lesson with the teacher, then my sister would have her lesson, and then my mom would have her lesson. So it's my sister and I kind of getting dragged along to my mom's piano lessons, and so both of us kind of didn't like it for that. My sister was a little bit more interested than I was, and she kind of continued practicing after my mom eventually said, okay, fine, if you really don't want to do it, I won't make you. And I said, yay, I don't want to do it. Nori, can you, like, lock your stuff up? I mean, it's either that or just chuck the child into the fire at this point. That's for sure. You're always busy. I'm always busy, and I'm still behind on everything, and I need to go to college, and I'm just like, I have so much to do. And I'm dying, but it's fine. Okay, let's see. I do want to give her a gradient because she is a little bit too dark, surprisingly. Let's see, is this? Yes, okay. There we go. Now you can see more of her pink. That looks better. I'm gonna hide the birds in the front so I can kind of see what I'm working with. Oh, I didn't draw her habit over the rear of her. I can't even speak. Okay, let me find where that layer is. I think it's this. Aha! I was right. Okay, excellent. Let's see. So her habit gets kind of like draped over. Her habit is this part. You can't tell really because it's not colored yet, quote unquote colored. But she has like her bodice, which has this part, and her sleeves. And then you have this part, which is kind of just like a rectangle of fabric, and it should go over the back, which is what's missing, so I need to add that in. It should go over the back. That gets kind of layered over top, and then she has, I haven't really decided where she prefers to wear it, because naturally it would want to slip up to her natural waist, so I guess that's where it would be. But then she has like a belt underneath, and she's got like probably like a little pouch of some kind to just keep stuff in, like she keeps her medicine in that. And then she'd have her belt rosary that goes through that. Not that you'd be able to really see it. But yeah. Oops. Though she doesn't have a fancy metal belt rosary. She just has a wooden one because she's expected to have one. Does she actually use it to pray? Well, she's doing a little bit better at that recently, but generally speaking, no. She's not, to quote her own words, she's not much good at prayer. And Nori put that child into home detention. Yeah, no kidding. There's no excuse for that kind of behavior. It doesn't matter. If your parents aren't gonna discipline him, you're gonna have to discipline him yourself. I'm sorry to say. Otherwise, it's just gonna continue. College again. Did I miss something? I just need to continue my classes. I did tell myself that I'm taking this year 2026 off because health. My health is, without going into too much detail, I am about 6 months into a 2 to 3 year recovery, and it's going. It could be going better, but it's going. But I'm hitting some struggles. So I told myself that I would give myself 2026 to just try to get further along in the recovery before going back to college. But I really need to not procrastinate, and I need to pick up my classes again. It's just gonna suck because I hate it. I hate it so much. But oh well, it is what it is. All right, let's see. Oh, did I not merge? I did not merge these. Okay, well, I'm gonna merge them, and I might regret that, but it is what it is. We're committed now. Everything's merged. Oh my god, a scene came to mind. A cold night in December, and Brontë is hugging Cyril from behind while they look at the fireplace, and Cyril is playing the piano. That's very cute. What if she's a ghost while Cyril plays the piano? No, we're gonna cry. Oh no. It just makes me think of that one painting. My voice is starting to give out on me. I might have to cut stream short if my voice doesn't start cooperating again, but we'll see. Brontë would appreciate any opportunity to give Cyril a hug that doesn't involve getting her everything all burnt and stinging, because his cassock always hurts. It doesn't burn her the way that it like actively burns a vampire, because she's not technically a full vampire, but it is unpleasant, and it does sting. It kind of stings in the way that a nettle would sting, if you've ever had the misfortune of accidentally touching a nettle. Hopefully your recovery goes smoothly and you feel better soon. Fingers crossed. I had to switch doctors again. So new medication, new doctors. It's fine. We're getting through it. It's time to give Cyril a hug. Cyril, instead of wearing his cassock, he can wear that white shirt instead, which he does sometimes. and he's just kind of hanging out. What time is it? 12:42. I'll probably go until 1, so about 15 more minutes. Let's see how much work I can get done in that time. I'm also waiting for, I believe it's Sacristy to be back in stock. So I have 2 larger decants of both Cardinal and Avignon, and so far it does look like Avignon is coming out on top. It's still not perfect, it's still not quite right for Cyril, but Cardinal doesn't last, which is really disappointing. It just has no longevity whatsoever. It disappears basically as soon as it's sprayed. It's very interesting, I suppose, to say the least. So, still on the hunt for the right thing. However, Brontë has been very easy to find fragrances for. Obviously, we have Imaginary Authors and Whiff of Waffle Cone. I know that that suits her pretty much perfectly. However, I also picked up another one, and the name is gonna sound weird. So don't jump to any conclusions or judge me too much when you hear it. But the other fragrance that really works for Brontë is called Dirty Milk, and I love it so much. And Cyril would fall over and die. It smells so good, and it definitely makes me think of her. So while Cyril is still struggling to find his one fragrance, Brontë now has 2. Do you like hugs, Dia? I do like hugs. I'm a big fan. Certified 10 out of 10. How to give Cyril a hug. 1. Bake some cookies. 2. Bring them to him. When he takes them, hug him tightly. Do things with him. Excuse me? 5. Left on your leg. Oh my goodness. No, 5. We saw that. Wait, Dia, may I do fan art of them? Yes, absolutely. Please show me if you do draw fan art of them, because I would love to see it. Brontë should name the dove that's sitting on her hand Magnolia or something. I think she might come up with a name for a specific dove. I could see her doing that. Let's see here. I'm probably just gonna do. See how this works. Cyril would love the fragrance's name as well. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, he'd be all over that. Hang on, let me let me explain myself. Let me see what the notes are for Dirty Milk, because I can remember most of them off the top of my head, but let's see. Okay. Okay, yes, and this is why I think it suits, in my mind, suits Brontë the way that it does, because Whiff of Waffle Cone has like a very salty caramel note to it, and Dirty Milk also has a caramel note to it. So I think that's part of why I feel that it suits her so well, because it's a little bit similar to Whiff of Waffle Cone in that way. However, it is caramel, black pepper, milk, condensed milk, iris, vanilla, tonka bean, and musk. It's so good. The tutorial works pretty well, just ask Brontë. My friends are trying shock therapy on me by giving me long hugs. Do you not like hugs, or is it just a long hug that makes you uncomfortable? I have my grandmother will always kind of give me uncomfortably long hugs, but that's okay. She's just sentimental, and I respect that. I would have been surprised if it didn't have condensed milk in it. with a name like Dirty Milk, I feel like it's legally obligated. Which perfume does Brontë wear? Brontë doesn't technically wear a perfume because she doesn't own one. Like, canonically, that's not one of the things that she owns. Vows of poverty and all that with the church. She doesn't own little things like that. However, the Cyril, she probably very much smells like the Dirty Milk fragrance, probably. It's between Dirty Milk and Whiff of Waffle Cone, because Whiff of Waffle Cone is probably more accurate to how she actually smells, I think. However, Cyril is a horny old man, and Dirty Milk has like a very, in my mind, a very pleasant kind of, what's the word? Lactonic, I think is the word, for like a milk smell, I guess, to it. It's very particular, and I can imagine Cyril, that's what Cyril interprets from how she smells. Cyril has described her in Immolation Volume 1. He describes her smelling like salted heavy cream, and that's very much what Dirty Milk is giving. And if she's too close to him, he's gonna keel over and die. Dirty Milk born to stand out. Correct. It's hard to point out I love hugs from certain... That makes sense. Long hugs for no reason are extremely weird. That might be a trauma response. I'm figuring it out. It's okay to have boundaries as well on like how long a hug goes. And from who you receive one. Not I don't mind hugs, but I'm not necessarily someone who wants a hug from everybody either. That's a very normal boundary thing. I give my mother a hug that lasts for 2 seconds. I don't get hugged. My mom is starting to hug me longer and longer, I think because my sister just had her first baby, so my mom is feeling very much, oh, uh-oh. Oh, we got a corruption. All right, let me fix that. Hold on. There we go. All right, we're fine. Price of 198 euro is expensive. It is an expensive fragrance. You can always get a decant though if you really want to try it out and see what Brontë smells like. for all your Brontë needs. I don't hug my parents anymore. It's a little easier with friends. Aw. And then I think do next. This will be. It's already one, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. But real quick, I will just scribble in the hem or hems rather. What shall we say? Technically, there should be like a little seam. I don't know if this detail is going to stay, but like there should be like a little button and a seam on the inside of her sleeve. Did your screen just glitch? It was, yeah, so it was because I added a gradient over like all of Bronte's clothing. Every once in a while, Psy just will glitch out and it'll corrupt. But when it does that, I just have to save and then reopen the file. So it's just a screen issue. It's not the artwork being corrupted itself. That said, I do have to work on a Photoshop document because if that happens on a Psy file, it will ruin the file and it will corrupt the entire thing. I've learned that from experience. I've lost several files that way. But because I work on PSD, it doesn't do that. I just have to reopen it and it'll sort itself out. But yes, your eyes weren't playing tricks on you. It did kind of glitch out and corrupt there for a second. But it's fixed. But yeah, if you want to try out a decant of dirty milk or whiff of waffle cone, either one, I have been using Scent Split, and I would recommend getting your decants from them. You can get them for, I think the cheapest one for a 1 milliliter sample, I think it depends on the fragrance, but it's gonna run you somewhere between like $4 to $7. So it's quite cheap. You can get a little sample and you can enjoy it. I'm gonna get some 5 milliliter bottles just for myself, just to have. Yeah, if I do fan art of them, I'll probably post it on Pinterest. Just please remember to send me a link. You can, I think YouTube has like direct messaging now. I don't know how it works. I just got the update. They said, hey, by the way, you can message people. Just make sure that you credit me, please. And obviously yourself. And then send me a link because I would love to see it. Especially on somewhere like Pinterest, because Pinterest loves to steal stuff. I'm just writing a fic, but it's not finished yet. Eyes emoji. I would love to read. Would you be able to see? No, I don't think so. I think it kind of hangs down off of her back. So, but actually, what I'm going to do. That's better. Of course, I'll tag you. Yay! Thank you. Yeah, apparently there's a messaging system where you can directly message people within YouTube now, which is crazy. I don't know how it works. I don't know if you have to, pardon me, I don't know if you have to like opt in or sign up or change a setting or something somewhere, but apparently that's a thing. I think that is going to be where I call it for today, because I have work to do. Approximately 600 things on my to-do list that I need to get done before the weekend is over. But yes, I hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's always fun to chat. I always love streaming and getting to work on art and chat with you guys. It's always really fun. It's fine. I'll just send a link over live stream or something. Well, you can send it over live stream. You can find me on, I don't know, where am I? Instagram, Blue Sky, technically Tumblr. Send it wherever your heart desires. As long as I get to see it, I will be happy. But yes, I hope you guys had fun. It was great to chat as always. I will see you guys next time. I stream every other Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Keep an eye out for book 1 of the audiobook, because each volume has 3 books. So book 1 of the audiobook will be coming to YouTube at some point. I don't exactly have a set date yet, but it's going to be coming soonish. Sending you a virtual, completely normal 5-second hug. All right, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate the support. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys next time.